to my channel. Welcome to today's video. Today's video is going to be the last declutter in my New Year's declutter, and we are going to be going over eyeshadow palettes, including singles. So there's a lot here. This is probably going to be my longest video yet. I don't know how much I'll be decluttering. As I've mentioned in my previous declutter videos, I did do a pretty big declutter 6 months ago. I really went through my entire collection and honed it down a lot. So this is going to be more of me just checking in with my collection, seeing if there's anything that I don't want anymore that I haven't used in the last 6 months or so, and just really go from there. I just like to give that disclaimer in case you're looking for a really brutal declutter. This is not going to be it. I don't have any expectations going into this. I'm just going to see what comes out of this. I've counted all my singles. I've counted all of my palettes. We are starting with 132. That's not including eyeshadow primer here. So let's just get started. If you like declutter videos, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Stick around. I do a lot of decluttering. I do a lot of using makeup that's already in my collection, reviewing some new things, just trying to keep an equal balance between the two. And with all that, this is a lot to tackle, so let's get started. I am going to take these eyeshadow primers out. As I mentioned, I didn't include them in my numbers because I am trying to make a New Year's resolution to actually start using eye primer. So these are just going to stay and be put aside. And then let's just start with my Victoria Beckham because I know that I'm going to keep both of these. I have the shades Tea Rose and Mink. These are really pretty. Both of these, I like Mink a lot more than Tea Rose. It's just more my style, but both of these are really nice. They perform really great. I haven't gotten like my use out of them, so they are both going to stay here. I won't be swatching everything. If you're looking for that like brutal declutter with swatching, etc., I will link the playlist above where I did my last declutter if that's like more your speed. And then let's now start with these Dose of Colors. I had 4 of these. I remember I decluttered 2 last time. I kept Wild and Free and I kept Olive You. So Wild and Free looks like this. Now these were like all the rage when they came out. I remember they were very expensive. They were like $20 a piece for these. And gosh, this is just gonna be a video of me struggling to open everything. There we go. And I love these olivey shades here. I think that it's going to be time for me to just let these go. I haven't used them in the last 6 months. So both of these, I think it's just time to declutter. Now, one I want to keep since I'm letting go of that other olive green one is this L'Oreal Crushed Foiled. This is really pretty. It's a little bit darker than that last Dose of Colors one. It's a little bit more of like that dirty green. I really liked this collection when it came out. And since I'm going to try and be a little bit more brutal, not keeping single greens, I am going to keep this one. And then I think one of the single greens that I kept before, let's see, is this Kylie one? Yeah, so this is a Kylie Cosmetics kind of pot shadow in camo. And it's drying out. I can feel it. Like you kind of have to rub off that layer. So less like sparkle, more metallic. I prefer this over this. So I'm going to declutter this Kylie one. Haven't used it in that 6 months. I think it's safe that it can go. Let's go over these Oryx here. I have 4 of them. 2 of them are currently in Shop My Stash. My new Shop My Stash is coming up soon, but I don't know if this video will go up before or after it. So I have the ones from Holiday. I have the shades Disrupt and Entice. And then I have the ones from their core line, which is Defiance and Temper. I love these Oryx Smoke Reflex. I would say out of all of my singles, these are the ones that I've used the most. The Holiday ones, like I have some thoughts on them. They're not necessarily my favorite colors. I definitely prefer these 2 more, but I am going to keep them for a little while longer and talk about them more in Shop My Stash. So all 4 of these are going to stay. And then the Chantecaille is also going to stay. I talked about this in Makeup I Regret. I still am like unhappy with it. Clearly I have the elephant one and I will show you why in just a second. I've only used this a couple of times and it like completely fell out of the pan. I really need to prioritize fixing this. I know there's a way to keep this in the pan. I just need to prioritize looking into how to do that. Kind of just sad about it, but it is a really pretty color. So far it's intact. I spent so much money on this, so it is going to stay. And then these Charlotte Tilbury are also going to stay. I have Oyster Pearl and I have Rose Gold. I honestly think that I might declutter Rose Gold in the future. I just haven't had it that long. I've had it less than 6 months. So right now it's going to stay. I'm just going to see how much more use I can get out of it. But I do prefer just this Oyster Pearl. It's just more my speed, my style. If I'm going to go into a single shadow, this is what I'm going to go into. It's easy to blend, and I just like the tone more. This is just a little bit warm for me, but for now, it's going to stay. Maybe next round. Next, let's go over these shadow sticks. So I have 2 from Laura Mercier. These came from like the Rose Gold collection. I have the shades A Kiss from a Rose and Forbidden Rose. So both of these are really pretty. I looked high and low for this collection, and I have actually used both of these, and I use them together. So I use this like all over the lid, this to kind of just deepen up the crease, the outer corner. So I'm going to hang on to both of these. However, this Galactic one, I haven't used this in the last 6 months. I don't foresee myself using it. It's a pretty color. Like, I like the color. It's that just nice taupey shade, but I'll reach into that Charlotte Tilbury before I reach into this. So this can go. And then these 2, I have just a mini of Vanilla Kiss from Laura Mercier. I kind of want to keep this because it's a good base. So I will keep this one. And then this from CoverGirl. This is in the shade, what is this in? Dreamy Haze. I kind of want to keep this one too because I don't have too many mattes. I'm going to keep it. I was going to declutter it, but I'm actually going to keep it. Now, next, let's go through these MAC ones. I have the shade Woodwinked, Wedge, and Satin Taupe. I love all of these. Clearly, I love Wedge a lot. I got rid of the palette that had Wedge in it, so I am going to keep my single of this. And then this Woodwinked one, I got this off of a recommendation of a YouTuber, and I don't think I've tried it yet. I think it's actually unused. So for now, I'm going to hang on to these. I don't have too many MAC eyeshadows, and I do like them. However, these Tarte ones, let's go. I have Martini. So Martini, again, that like dark olive green. I have trouble with this shade, clearly, but I like that L'Oreal one more. This is just like a little bit more gold. So this one can go. I haven't reached into this at all in the last 6 months. And then this one is Park Avenue Princess. This is too bronzy for me. I had to keep it because Park Avenue Princess is like a staple in Tarte's line, but if you know anything about me, like that is not my color at all, so I don't know why I hung on to it. And then this one is Crystal Ball, and I think this is more of like a liner. It's kind of more of like this purple iridescence, and this is kind of unique. I kind of want to hang on to it. I think I'm going to hang on to it. It's kind of cool looking. It's like this purple shifty without being too in your face like this one. It's going to stay for now. I probably should declutter it, but I'm not going to. I am going to declutter those other 2 Tarte ones though. Okay, making progress on this drawer. Let's go over these 3. This Bobbi Brown single, I actually use this quite a bit. This is in Liquid Mercury. Part of me wants to get more Bobbi Brown singles, but they are pretty pricey, and clearly, there we go. I can't open them. Again, like very nice taupe shade. I really like this. I actually use this one quite a bit, so it's going to stay the only thing I like from Bobbi Brown. And then I have this from Jaclyn Cosmetics. This is an Icicle. You know, I was gonna keep this, but I think it can go. Like, I have other color pops that I can keep that give like a similar effect to this. So I am going to declutter this. And then this hourglass one, I have smoke. I decluttered most of my hourglass ones. I kept this one. I'm going to continue to keep this one. I really just enjoy this shade. It's even very similar to that Jaclyn Hill. So now I feel even better about decluttering the Jaclyn Hill and keeping this hourglass. And now do we want to go over my Color Pops or my Sydney Grays? Let's just go over Sydney Grays. So if you remember from my last declutter, I actually had like 30 or 40 of these Sydney Graces, and I said I was going to do a TikTok, so I was going to keep them all. And then I had a friend reach out, and she really likes these and asked if I had any that I wasn't using because she knows that I go through my makeup pretty often. And so I gave her all of my unused ones because I just figured it was time. I hadn't done that TikTok, and this is what was left. So I'm going to quickly go through them. And this one is the multi-chrome, so I know I'm going to keep this one. This is in the shade Flamethrower. And then these other ones, let's see if we can go through them a little bit more. I will actually swatch these. Okay, so here we have all the Sydney Grace swatched on my arm. Not too great, but it is what it is. Starting from the top, we have Babe, Master Plan, My Bond, Warm Glow, Starstruck, Starry Night, Cliff Jumper, and the Scoop. So, I don't know if I like any of these. I definitely don't like Babe. I do like Master Plan, which is this one. No, I don't. I'm going to be more honest with myself. I don't think I'm going to keep any of these. Nope. Because like, I kind of like this one, but not really. I kind of like this one, but well, maybe I'll keep this one because it's kind of like that purpley taupe. But I just don't think I'm going to wear it. I'm trying to be honest with myself. I just don't think that I will wear this. Even though I really like the shade, it's pretty and I like the formula. I think I'm only going to keep the multi-chrome because they don't have a lot of multi-chromes. And I'm going to declutter the rest. So that's what I'm going to do with those. And then that leaves us with ColourPop. So let's see what shades I have here. I don't know how many of these I'm going to declutter because last time I decluttered about 2/3 of them. So I have the shades Forced Behavior, Birthday Girl, Prickly Pear, Ritz, Bouncy, I Heart This, Vega, and Ladybird. Now I know Ritz and Ladybird, those aren't going anywhere. Prickly Pear, I do really like this shade, so this is also going to stay. Like I said, I think I only kept the ones that I really like, and I don't want to get rid of too many. Forced Behavior, let's see what this looks like. My fingers need to be washed. So yeah, you know, I'm still going to keep it. It's just like these subtle topper shades, and that's what I like about them. Forced Behavior can stay. Vega might be able to go. See if it's dried out. Vega can go. It's a little bit dry. And then let's see, Birthday Girl. Birthday Girl still feels good. It still works great. Birthday Girl can stay. And then the last two, Bouncy and I Heart This. So let's see. Just making a mess. I Heart This. Glitter all over me. That one looks really nice. And that one looks really nice. So the only one I'm going to get rid of is Vega. The rest of my ColourPops are going to stay. So let me just rearrange my single drawer real fast and we will move on to the next drawer. So here's my singles drawer. I have about half the space left. I might put some of my quads and quints in here. I'm just gonna see what I have after going through it all. So here is this drawer. Let's now move on to the next drawer. All right, here we are with the next drawer here. And I just don't know where to get started. Sorry if you can see my robe. I am still in my pajamas. So let's start with these Laura Lee ones. I have Cat's Pajamas, which looks like this. And I have Nudie Patootie, which looks like this. I haven't gotten as much use out of these as I want. I do really like the Cat's Pajamas. I like all these tones. I am going to hang on to both of them still. They still perform fine. However, this Buxom one, I keep wanting to hang on to it, but I just don't use it. I don't like this shade. If it had the rest of these, I would like it. Buxom actually has really nice formula. No, I don't know, because it kind of has this brush. I think I might hang on to it and pull it into a Shop My Stash. I changed my mind. I want to keep it still. I'm going to give it like a last hurrah in Shop My Stash, see what I think of it, but this one's going to stay too. Now for all my ColourPop, I have quite a few in here. So I have these four. I'm not going to be decluttering any ColourPop because I plan on next Shop My Stash. You may have already seen that video or not, depending on when this goes up. But I'm going to go through all my ColourPop palettes, bring them into Shop My Stash, and then I'm going to rank them after a month, just like I did with the Natasha Denona palettes and the Pat McGrath palettes. So that's why I'm not going to declutter any of them just yet. I have Give It To Me Straight, which looks like this. I have Off Melrose, which looks like this. I have Feeling Bubbly, which looks like this. And then I have Stone Cold Fox, which looks like this. I will probably be decluttering them once I rank them, but until then, I'm going to just hang on and I'm going to put them aside because I actually emptied out a drawer and I'm going to make a drawer just dedicated to the ColourPop. And then going through the rest of these, so I have the Sydney Grace Coffee Talk palette. It looks like this. I actually really enjoy this palette. I put this palette in top 5 best neutral palettes. It's just very, very pigmented, but for a neutral palette, it is fantastic. So I'm going to hang on to this one. The Sweet Indulgence, as you can see probably, because it still has this paper on it, I've never used this, and like these bright ones, they're just not me. I think that I'm going to declutter this. Even though I wish I could give it a shot, even though Sydney Grace has a great formula, I have so many singles from Sydney Grace, I don't need to hang on to this. Someone else can get better use out of this palette. Now this Tartelette in Bloom palette, I recently brought this into a Shop My Stash and I loved it. It performed great. It kind of just like ignited a new spark in how much I just really enjoy this palette. It performed really nice. It still smells like it normally is supposed to, so I'm going to hang on to this one still. It is a really nice palette. And then this Melt Petite Stack, this is like the neutral stack. I also put this in my best neutral palettes. I don't know why Melt discontinued this stack because it was perfect, perfect, perfect. My favorite stack out of all of them, and they discontinued it, but I use this all the time. It's great as just like a complimentary little palette for shimmer shades, so this is also going to stay. And then probably all these are going to stay, I'm going to be honest. My Tati Beauty palette, I just can't get rid of. They don't make this anymore. It kind of just needs to go like in iconic drawer or something where I can keep it. But this is also going to stay. And then I have the 3 Chanel quads. So I have Brunet Rose, I have Pourpre, and I have Cuivre, I think, right? Cuivre. So all 3 of these are going to stay. I love these palettes. Again, just like iconic palettes. They came out last year, but I will be hanging on to these for dear life for the rest of my life. I love them a lot. And the other Chanel ones I have, so I have this is the 747 Mediterranean. I actually really enjoy this one as well. It's very close to the Cuivre. I did a comparison of the Mediterranean with the Chanel quads, I think, the tweed ones. So you can check out that video if you want to see comparisons. And then I also have the Ombre La Lune that came out with the Demande La Lune collection. This one is similar to the Mediterranean, but not quite. Same similar tones. I don't think this palette was like special as far as color story, but because it came from like a limited edition collection, I am still going to hang on to it. And then I also have the Dior Quint. I have my name on the Quint. I was able to get it engraved from the Dior website. And this is the 739 House of Dreams. And this was the more cool tone with the silver. I did not get the gold, but those are all of my little ones. So that's what I was talking about with my single drawer. I think these are gonna go in that single drawer because I have the space for them. And just try and condense a little bit. So I'm gonna add those to that drawer, and then I'm going to kind of just rearrange this drawer a little bit. It's looking a little empty. That's because I took out the quads and the quints as well as the ColourPop. I will probably fill more of this up as we go through the drawers here. We'll see how much I can kind of condense, but let's now move on to the next drawer. Next up is this drawer. This houses mainly my Natasha Denona and some of my Huda Beauty. I did, when I ranked all my Natasha Denona, I will link that video above. I did kind of declutter some of these, so a lot of these will probably stay, but I will at least go over them. In the minis, I have the Mini Nude, the Mini Zendo, the Mini Retro, the Mini Lila, the Mini Love, the Mini Gold, the Mini Glam, yep, and then the Mini Star. So those are all of the minis. They will all be staying. I did declutter, I think, the Mini Tropic. And then from my 5 pans, I have the Camel, I have palette number 2, and I have Ayana. I definitely want to keep the Camel. Yeah, I'm going to keep all 3 of these. They're fine. I kept them for a reason, so they're going to stay. And then in the midi, I have the Glam and the Retro. And then in the bigger ones, I have Gold and Biba. And then I also have the Metropolis. They don't make this one anymore. I do really like this color story, as well as the Star palette. So those are all my Natasha Denona. I did declutter some of them, I think 2 or 3 of them when I did my ranking. So I'm happy with what I have for those. And then for Huda Beauty, I have the Smoky Obsessions. I just don't think I could ever get rid of this palette. I've had it for quite some time, but even though the black is busted, I might just dig this out because I keep trying to repress it and I really won't use black. But the rest of these are really nice shadows and it holds special memory to me. So Smoky is going to stay. It's also the only like small one I have from Huda Beauty. Then I also have Rose Quartz, the new nudes, and the Rose Gold palette remastered. I like all of these, so they're gonna stay. Kind of a boring drawer, but I want to move these palettes into that other drawer that had a lot of space and have this just be a Natasha Denona palette. So I'm going to reorganize that right now. All right, so here's what this drawer looks like. I am kind of happy with how it looks. I might mess around with it, but I feel like there's more space to look around in this drawer, see what I have. So now let's move on to the next one. This next drawer is overflowing, so we're gonna need to do something about that. I have all my singles here, and there's no way I'm just going through singles now. Here are my Give Me Glows. So I have that palette as well as this one. Here's what it looks like. And then I have a ton of Sydney Grace. So the Sydney Grace one is the retro that Mel did. I'm missing one shade. It's Honeydew. It was out of stock on the Sydney Grace website, so I couldn't get it, but I have it spot there just waiting to be filled. And then I have all of these with my Sydney Grace shadows. And I had someone on my last declutter ask where I got this. I just got this on Amazon. It was the French Amazon, so I can't link it, but I'm sure that regular Amazon also has it. So I kind of just have all of them done by color story here. And these are just highlights. I think I got in like a mystery bag or something. So I'm still like deciding how I want to organize all my singles. I haven't really found like a way that I'm really just satisfied with. And then this one here isn't really filled. This kind of just has leftover Give Me Glows, and then this is a Bitter Lace Beauty. So this just kind of is overflow. But singles, I'm going to tackle potentially a different month. And then here we have more palettes. So these ones here from Gloss Gods, I have the new neutrals, I have Smoke and Mirrors, and I have Vintage Glam. I reviewed these recently on my channel. I can link that video above, but I loved all three of these, so they're gonna stay. They're newer to my collection. This one here from Tarte, this is the Foiled Finger Paints. It kind of has like these single shadows, similar to the chrome paints. I kept this last declutter, and as much as I like it, as pretty as it is, as shiny as it is, foiled, I'm just not going to use it. So I'm going to pass this one on. And then the Persona Identity palette. I love this palette. Honestly, if I lost like all of my palettes, this might be one of the first ones that I grab. It's a great versatile palette. I also had this in my top 5 best neutral palettes. I think this is just a great all-encompassing palette. So it is going to stay. Now, this Kevyn Aucoin Nude Pop, I looked high and low for this palette because they don't make this anymore. It took me a long time to find it, and I really like it. The quality is wonderful. These shades are kind of just more desaturated, just kind of gray shades, and I really like that. This palette is going to stay. However, this palette, this is the BH Cosmetics Sugar Cone Sweet Shop palette. This was good. I remember I reviewed this on my channel. I went over this palette. It's not a bad palette. Like, I like how it kind of has matte shades with corresponding shimmer shades. However, I have so many like shimmer browns, it doesn't stand out, and I don't think I'll reach for this. I can find someone who will just appreciate this palette so much more than I can. So even though it's newer in my collection, I think that it's going to go. Next up is this By Terry palette. I haven't used this like as much as I wanted to, but it has like all this pretty just embossing with Paris on it. The shadows are like a little bit crumbly. It's not the best quality palette, but for sentimental reasons, I am going to hang on to it just a little bit longer. This is something I should probably bring in to Shop My Stash and just try it one more time and just make a decision on it. But for now, this one's going to stay. And then I'm also, let's just get these out of the way. These Lisa Eldridge palettes, I have all 5. I love, love, love 3 of the 5. So I have, let's see, Cinnabar is one that's just like okay. I'd give this like a 5 out of 10. Color Story is just not all the way there. It could be a little bit better. Then Sorcery is fantastic. This is a beautiful palette. I have Myth, which is the more purpley one. I also have Vega, which is the cool toned. If I can open it right here. And then Muse, which is for some reason like just a dud in my collection. I am going to hang on to this because I do want it for comparisons against the other Lisa Eldridge palettes in case she comes out with other ones. So all 5 of these are going to stay, and I'm going to add it to that single drawer with all just like my mini palettes and condense some space here. Now these Kaleidos ones, I have the Futurism 1, 2, and 3. These Kaleidos palettes are really nice. This is kind of the more green one, which I don't think I've used. And then the Cyber Bronze looks like this. And number 3 looks like this. I have used this one. I remember I pulled this into my first Shop My Stash, and I really even like these shades, but the packaging like really bothers me. It's hard to use these the way that you have to flip it open, and then when you're trying to do your makeup, like they kind of just fall back. Like you can see if this plastic wasn't there, it would just fall every time. So there's just other palettes that I can use more that don't have issues like that. And I think I'm going to declutter all 3 of these. Next up, let's talk about my Anastasia Beverly Hills. So I have Soft Glam. This is currently in Shop My Stash. I really like this palette. I would venture to say that most people would say that this is one of ABH's best palettes that they ever came out with. So this is going to stay. And then Nouveau, I really like this one as well. I really like all these tones. This purple here kind of just really stands out. This was a great palette. Anastasia Beverly Hills kind of had like just a dip for a while, and this palette they really came back strong with. So both of these are going to stay. Now I have 2 from Bobbi Brown here. And you can probably guess this Jadestone palette, it just needs to go. And honestly, it makes me angry looking at it. I hate it so much. It just needs to go. And then this Bobbi Brown one, I actually really like this. This was one of the first cool tone palettes that I got. I really like this navy shade. This topper shade is stunning. So just to like let me have some hope in Bobbi Brown and hope that they come back with excellent shadows like this and like their single, I am going to hang on to this one still. And then 4 left in here. So I have 2 from Bare Minerals. I have the Neutral and I have the Rose. Both of these can stay. I had a few other ones from Bare Minerals and I decluttered them last round, and these are the 2 that I kept. So I am going to continue to keep these because I like both the color stories. I like how this is a little bit more desaturated, cool toned. That's kind of like my vibe. So both of these can stay. And then this City Mini palette from Maybelline, I've been hanging on to this for dear life. It's past like declutter after declutter after declutter, and I haven't used it since my last one. I probably didn't use it since the last one before that, so I think it's time that this one just goes. And the last one here is the Viseart Petite Pro. I think that this is number 1, if I'm not mistaken. And I really like this palette. I actually wore this around holiday time. I really like these. I like how the little pans pop out and you can rearrange them. So this one's gonna stay. I really like Viseart's shadows, even though this kind of has like the same irritating packaging like the Kaleidos. It doesn't close if you lay it down flat. So that is a plus. If you're gonna do that kind of packaging, just make sure it stays open. This one is going to stay. And then I think for this drawer, I'm going to try and just limit it to my singles and see if I can fit those other miscellaneous ones in that other drawer that was kind of a little bit empty. So let's do that really fast. This one might look a little bit bare, but I'm happy to just have like a little bit more space. All right, so this is what this drawer is gonna look like. It houses all my single shadows. The rest of the ones that I'm gonna keep, I'm gonna put in that other drawer that was about half full, and we'll go on the final drawer. The last and final drawer houses most of my Pat McGrath. Let's get the non-Pat McGrath out of the way, so then that way we can just quickly go over the Pat McGrath. I have my Charlotte Tilbury here. So I have the Pillow Top Quad. This is just the original Pillow Top Quad. I really like this palette. I think that Charlotte Tilbury really shines with her quads because this is her Instant Eye palette and this has all of these shades in it. I wanted to love this palette so much. If this was like this half of the palette, I think I would like it more, but these shades I'm just not really into. It kind of hurts my heart a little bit, but I think I'm actually going to declutter this because I just don't reach for it. I would rather just get more quads from her and use those than use these. I can't remember the last time I reached into this. So I'm going to declutter this one and keep this one. Now, This one here is my Surratt. I keep it in the box because it was so expensive. And this is the Beautylish quad. I really want to get the other one that they have. I'm blanking on the name, but you probably know which one I'm talking about. But this is a beautiful palette. I really need to give more love to this because it is so stunning on the eyes. I like it a lot. It is absolutely staying. And then the two Tom Ford quads I have are Nude Dip, which you can see I've gotten some use out of, and Silver Topaz. Silver Topaz, like, I want to love it, but I will have to agree with everyone. When it doesn't have like the TF embossed in it, that wet dry formula, the shadows aren't as good. I'm going to hang on to this one a little bit longer, but I can probably tell you that in my next declutter, this one might go. Nude Dip is never going anywhere though. I love that one. And then that leaves me with just Pat McGrath. Now, again, I did do a ranking on all my Pat McGrath palettes. I can link that video above. So I think I did declutter one or two of those when I did that ranking. And let's just go through and make sure. Out of my motherships, I have Mothership 2, which is Sublime. I have Mothership 8, which is Divine Rose 2. Mothership 7, which is the original Divine Rose. I have Mothership 1, which is Subliminal, which has that blue shade. And then I have Mothership 6, which is Midnight Sun. And I do have the two Quints from Holiday Time. These are fantastic. Probably the best Pat McGrath formula in a long time that I've tried. I really like these. I wish they had one more matte in them, but it's fine because they kind of have special shades. So I'm okay with how those are. Those are my favorite, probably out of all of these. They weren't in my ranking because I had already done my ranking. But if I was to redo them, these two would be in like the 1 and 2 spot. And then this one is the Blitz Astral Quad and Iconic Illumination. This is like the more neutral one, which just has the Blitz Astral shades. I'm going to keep this one. I really want to get the Ritualistic Rose, but that's going to have to wait till another day. Pat McGrath does so many sales. I'm not too stressed about it, but this is a really stunning quad. And then the rest of these, let's see. So I have Deep Space Divinity. I have Eternal Eden. This one is going to stay. I have Fleur Fantasia. This one is like a maybe right now. I have Voyeuristic Vixen. This one's going to stay. I have Bronze Borealis. This one's also going to stay. So these two, I'm just kind of like undecided. What is this? Eternal Eden. And then Fleur Fantasia. I think I'm just going to keep both. Both can stay. I think I decluttered the ones that I didn't like. And then this one is the Bronze Temptation. I broke the packaging, I think, when I did my ranking, if I remember correctly. Yeah, like this broke along here. But I do really like this. I really like the green and then the cranberry for like Christmas time. It's very holiday-esque. And then Platinum Bronze is the other one that I have, the other 6-pan. And this is what this one looks like. A lot of people really like this 6-pan. It wasn't like my favorite, but it is nice when you pair it with just other palettes. On its own though, I don't like it as much. And that is all of my palettes. Let me rearrange this. I'm gonna make this just a Pat McGrath drawer, and then we'll talk about all the ones that I am decluttering. Here's what this drawer looks like. Let me add up what I'm decluttering and we will go over final numbers. Here is everything that I'm going to declutter. There's 26 items here, leaving me with 106. I was really hoping to stay closer to that 100 range, but that's okay. I know all of these are going to go to good homes, and I'm happy with what I decluttered. I'm happy with what I kept. Let me know down in the comments if there's something you probably think I should have let go of or something I should have kept, just let me know your thoughts down below. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up. This is where I'm going to leave you all. I hope you're having a great day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, everyone.